Could physical evidence of implants exist inside the human body? UFO hunter Dr. Roger Lear takes the leap from the psychological world and studies the physical objects being extracted from the body.
I am a UFO hunter, and my job is to pursue research in this very tiny slice of a very strange phenomena. I've been a practicing podiatric surgeon for 41 years. I have performed research in a number of medical fields, and now I've applied my skills in science to the alien abduction physical evidence phenomena. And one of the prime examples of this is the Tim Cullen story.
May 30th, 1978. Tim Cullen and his wife Janet were driving north near Highway 59 in Colorado when they encountered what they believed was a UFO. Although they only recall staying at the scene for a few minutes, the Cullens arrived home an hour later than expected. 20 years later, a routine X-ray revealed an unexplained piece of metal in Tim's arm. Cullen traced it back to that spring night in 1978.
First contact was just telling me who he was and that he thought he might be associated with the abduction phenomena and that he had a metallic object in his arm. So we had him send the X-rays, and we looked, and certainly there was a foreign body there, which appeared to be metallic.
What you are seeing is the actual surgery, which took place on February 5th, 2000.
Do you get a hold of it?
Dr. Lear supervised the procedure to remove the foreign object from Tim Cullen's arm. Although there was no original entry scar, a 6mm metallic object was found under the skin.
Once the object was removed, we find two very surprising things. One is that there's absolutely no inflammatory response by the body to the object, which is quote unquote impossible. And number two, we find that there's a large number of nerve cells there that really don't belong in that particular area. And these nerve cells are called proprioceptors.
Proprioceptors are an active living cluster of nerve endings. They're normally located in the hands and feet and respond to touch, temperature, and pressure. According to Dr. Lear, there is no medical explanation for them to be connected to a foreign piece of metal in the human body.
When we look at what happens in the body after the object goes in, the body does not like foreign things inside, so it reacts to it. Now, if it's, let's say, lead from a pencil or something like that, we get an immediate inflammatory reaction. But when we look at these things, there's nothing. Zip, zero. So just from that alone, you can say these are drastically different than any kind of typical foreign body that we get inside. I believe that these nerve cells are sort of the plug where this thing is plugged in at, and it's using neural energy from the body to operate. On one case, not Tim's, but on another case, we fortunately had a piece of equipment which was a radio frequency detector, and we actually detected two oscillating frequencies that were being emitted from the object. When they are removed, they don't do anything. So obviously, plugging them in somewhere into the body gives them some kind of energy that makes them do whatever it is they do.
Dr. Lear has supervised more than 10 of these operations. Each surgery has produced strange foreign objects from the body, all of which can be found safely locked in his personal archive. The evidence collected by Dr. Lear seems to defy scientific logic.
We find that these objects contain metals which are not from this earth. The abundant amount of physical evidence available leads me to believe that this planet is being visited by intelligences from somewhere else. That is why I'm a UFO hunter.
Ultimately, validating the hard evidence accumulated by UFO hunters is just as important as recovering artifacts. Whether the substantiation comes from science, metaphysics, documentation, or imagery, UFO hunters will not risk their credibility by presenting false data. Since many UFO sightings are allegedly caught on film and video, attempts to verify or validate the images comes down to researchers like naval optical physicist Dr. Bruce Maccabee.
I'm a UFO hunter, and my job is to separate the wheat from the chaff. For example, in the photographic cases, to be able to separate the cases which are mistakes or outright hoaxes from the cases which can't be explained.
Dr. Maccabee has authored 36 technical articles and more than 100 UFO research papers over the last 2.5 decades.
I've known Bruce for over 30 years. I find that he is persistent, he is consistent, he is scientific, and he doesn't let opinions come in so much as science. In my opinion, Dr. Bruce Maccabee is indeed a true UFO hunter.
Dr. Maccabee uses computer analysis systems to actually feed in and analyze each frame of a video, for instance, or to feed in a photograph. As a result, he has done investigations that stand the test of time.
I have done not only photographic research, but also historical research into the subject of UFOs.
Dr. Maccabee is convinced that photos alone can't tell the entire story. He believes that the U.S. government is withholding vital information.
I was one of the first people to try beating down the doors of the government by getting information out about the FBI.
J. Edgar Hoover himself says it is not now, nor was it ever was, the role of the FBI to be involved in UFO investigations. Dr. Bruce Maccabee filed a Freedom of Information Act request. This is back in the 70s. Got 1,600 pages of material.
When I got it and read through the documents, I could see that there was information in the FBI file that was nowhere else, including comments by Air Force people that were stored in the FBI file that you can't find in the Air Force file.
UFO hunter Nick Redfern sifts through thousands of government documents from around the world to seek hidden information about these UFO claims.
My background is largely looking at things from an official level, trying to determine what has been learned about the subject, what has been uncovered by, for example, the British military, the British Royal Air Force, the Ministry of Defence, and over here, the Central Intelligence Agency, FBI, National Security Agency. What drives me to investigate UFOs is basically, I think that at an official restricted level, there are people who know the truth about this particular subject. And I feel that if something so important and potentially mind-blowing and life-changing as visitors from another world actually coming here, I think that all of us have a right to know this. Based on my research, I'm convinced that UFOs are real, they're coming from somewhere else, and they're visiting us. And that's why I became a UFO researcher.